3 people have been arrested following a search of a residence in Moncton on August 30th. The New Brunswick government says during that search, the Department of Justice and Public Safety, in partnership with police in Quebec, seized over 432 kilograms of dried cannabis bud.
Good morning and good afternoon. It is Saturday, September 21st, 2024. We hope you had a great week this week, and this is your weekly blunt wrap-up of the Blacklist XYZ. I'm your host, Jason Beck, and please remember to smash that like button as well as subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, as well as drop us a comment down below of what you think about this week's blunt wrap-up of the Blacklist XYZ. So let's get right into it with story number 1 in this week's blunt wrap-up. A post with Blacklist and Ganja Leak says, recently leaked footage of a Fluent Florida cultivation employee posted on Reddit, you guys. This is currently rampant with our medical program. Expect to see much more of this if the Permanent Monopoly Legalization Amendment 3 passes in November. With Amendment 3, cultivators cannot be held civilly liable if you get sick from their products, and no oversight for PGRs, pesticides, or herbicides use that is often illegal in other states. They don't want you to know how disgusting and toxic their products are, they say. And a friendly reminder, Ganja Leak says, Amendment 3, the permanent monopoly or legalization, exempts dispensaries from civil liability. So if you get sick from the mold or herbicides, pesticides, there is absolutely nothing you can do. You will not be able to sue them legally, and they have deleted thousands of health complaints, which we will soon expose. And they say vote no on 3 and to vote no on 3. Well, I'm not sure if that actually says that or if they're just gaslighting or not. I'm going to need to do some more research to see if that actually does say that in there. I don't know. That's a pharmaceutical play, and I don't think the cannabis industry paid enough money to be able to have anything like that go on. But, crazier things have happened, so we don't really know. But we are going to go in and see what you guys all have to say about this. And on another note, if I do happen to murder your Instagram name, I do apologize in advance. It is not intentional. And now let's see what you all have to say about this. Golden State Banana says, WTF does this have to do with the rec vote? Who's to blame? Isn't it this guy and the rest of the grow staff's fault? How you work in the grow and don't have the IPM under control. They should be disgusted with themselves for being the ones that grew it. Just fire the whole grow team if they don't understand what their job is. I totally agree with you on that, but I think a lot of the times you have incompetent grow staff and grow leadership and whatnot, and the whole thing needs to be, just basically uprooted like a weed. But a lot of these corporate companies are scared to do that with some of their employees for some reason sometimes, but who knows? Who knows? Flavor Farm Labs 2.0 says, love how all these people come on talking shit about terps. They're so quick to defend oranges, flower, legal flower, etc. Well, you see, how's that going? I can guarantee one thing, smoking mold and pesticides is way more dangerous than smoking terps. You're right. In this case, maybe the spray packs would win on this one. I think you're right about that, Flavor Farm Labs. Hunter778 says, I worked at Curaleaf. Just got laid off 2 weeks ago, so they definitely won't like this. But if anyone didn't know, in the state of Pennsylvania, only medical, PM, aphids, botryosis do not make the harvest fail state testing. They sprayed xeritol, used boric acid, and used silica everywhere. Power SI was used during the veg and is absolutely foul to work with. You basically need a respirator to put it on the cocoa cube. Any failed weed would be turned to distillate. Trust me, we gave patients tons of failed weed because it was, in quotes, tested late. Fizzle_wiggle says, I work for a corporate cannabis company, and I can tell you that similar things are happening there. Thrip infestation in final weeks of flower and moldy weed that is sprayed with xeritol before it goes out for distribution. Legalization is a pay-to-play game, and we need more oversight on the standards of operation. Seems like this is just becoming a big old snitching fest, you guys. Brian 6.00 says, so how about we boycott all corporate brands and support small farms instead? Yeah, that's a great idea, but no one ever does it, and people just talk about it, but no one actually does it. There's no follow-through by the general public. Dutter says, and they wrote in the amendment that they're not liable for any bad products where people getting sick from their products. Worst amendment ever. Yeah, I'm not sure if that's actually in there or not, but there is a lot of people saying that it is in there, so who knows? I'm going to have to read it and check it out. Trichome Farms PDX says, what I imagine most weed on the East Coast looks like. Fair statement. Shy.High says, at Fox 13 News, why aren't you guys reporting the real story? Dubes_KOG says, High Times Cup winner 2025. You are funny. Very, very funny. Shy.High chimes back in and says, at Bay News 9, why aren't you guys reporting the real story? And Blood Brothers Genetics says, spider mite infested and boitress ridden nugs on sale today. Don't forget to use your rewards and stack up on the points, folks. Isn't it great to be a part of the culture of folks? So true, you guys. And Shy.High steps in one more time and says, at Tampa Bay Times, why aren't you guys reporting the real story? We couldn't agree with you more, Shy.High. SBF Hayfork says, I don't appreciate the jab at outdoor growers by the whistleblower. Fair enough. The real Silver Hinoboy says, yes, let's keep locking up innocent people for a plant because some of others can't grow it properly. Squiddyite says, just let a few ladybugs loose and they'll be gone in no time. I feel you. They should definitely be using some organic remediation techniques on those, and that would help out a lot. Joel Hernandez, 6188, says, you need to talk to OSHA. Get a check. Stop playing. Tyron 1300 says, LOL, I tried getting a job with them. I've been in the game 14 years and wasn't hired because someone was intimidated by my knowledge. This shows exactly what you get when you have people who think they know how to run a large operation. I think you're probably right about a lot of that, Tyron. I think so. Local Collusion says, legal weed is safer, y'all. That's funny. Jeremy Green says, aphids shouldn't count towards the weight. You're right. Fortunately, aphids don't weigh that much. PR.OG Sour Cookie says, no wonder why my texts and DMs keep telling me to move back to Florida and bring my grow back to the Sunshine State. That might actually be why. Maximum_Josh_OG says, grew outdoor for 20 plus years. Never had anything look close to this. LOL. Good grower, bro. Pocket Full of Stank says, and the average goofy customer thinks because it's legal, it's safe. You are so true about that. They definitely. LAX and Oz says, there's a few grows out here in AZ that look just like that. Watch out for those cheap pre-rolls. You are so right about that, bro. Those cheapies, you know. Man, I don't understand how people smoke those things, but they do, and they always have, and I don't see them stopping anytime soon. My Vibes guy says, typical corporate Canagro, got to make that profit to show the investors how valuable we are. And 710 Collusion says, CRC incoming. Very true. Leonels_Garden says, rise in Homestead, Florida. The whole facility is infested with powdered mildew and mites. There's plenty of videos, and they turn everything into distillate. I mean, what else are you going to do with it? When in Woods, Ink Ashes says, is the same company that used to be named Knox. They had to revamp and name change because of how horrible they were then. Same company that didn't want flour and only oil when first legalized. Very true, true, true. The Easter Cherokees Reservation first batch of greenhouses are higher quality than this, says Zaya 2. And Love of Hash says, this reminds me of someone that we used to be friends with. I wonder why we stopped hanging out. The proof is in the pudding. Just Another Grow says, looks like the Canadian LP grows, LOL. And A. Wolfson _ says, I used to work at Fluent Tampa, assistant grower. I left because, one, they couldn't manage anything, and every Friday was harvest day. Moldy flour came out, flour dropped on the ground, and it all got dried and processed to keep numbers up so they could keep investors happy. This was in 2020. I can't imagine it now. Biff, if you're reading this, you suck, my boy. Worst manager ever. LMAO. Man, it's a tough day to be Biff. And the official Haisham says, Chinese $50 loaves from last season be better quality than this. You may be right about that, but Moving right along into story number 2 in this week's blunt wrap-up of the Blacklist XYZ.
3 people have been arrested following a search of a residence in Moncton on August 30th. The New Brunswick government says during that search, the Department of Justice and Public Safety, in partnership with police in Quebec, seized over 432 kilograms of dried cannabis bud, with a street value of more than $1.4 million. On top of that, over 8,000 pre-rolled cannabis joints, more than 1,600 edible products, 925 electronic vape products, 241 grams of cannabis derivatives, more than 500 grams of hashish, 1 kilogram of THC crystals, and over $143,000 in cash was also collected. The 3 accused include a 53-year-old man from Markham, a 45-year-old woman from Scarborough, and a 68-year-old man from Scarborough. All of them were from Ontario and are scheduled to appear in court on November 25th. New Brunswick Public Safety Minister Chris Austin said the products were unregulated and do not adhere to the stringent quality control and labeling requirements of the Cannabis Act, which could pose a significant health risk to New Brunswickers. We did ask for more information from the Public Safety Minister, but he wasn't available, and the RCMP did not respond to our requests.
That's right. New Brunswick, Canada, Department of Justice and Public Safety officers recently seized more than 432 kilograms of dried cannabis in Moncton, in what they believe is the largest such seizure in Atlantic Canada, you guys. According to a news release from the New Brunswick government, peace officers executed a search warrant at a Monticon residence on August 30th. They arrested a 45-year-old woman from Scarborough, Ontario, a 53-year-old man from Markham, Ontario, and a 68-year-old man from Scarborough, Ontario, at the scene. Officers seized 432.43 kilograms of cannabis bud, valued at more than $1.4 million. And they also apparently seized $143,485 in cash, 8,080 pre-rolled cannabis joints, 1,658 edible products, 1 kilogram of THC crystals, 925 electronic vape products, 540 grams of hashish, 241 grams of cannabis derivatives, you guys. Officers believe the products were set to go to more than 30 unlicensed dispensaries in Nova Scotia, New Brunswick, and Quebec. The release says all 3 arrested will face charges under Section 354 of the Criminal Code, possession of property obtained by crime, and under the Federal Cannabis Act, they are scheduled to appear in court on November 25th. And this is courtesy of the Canadian TV News, you guys. Well. I mean, this just sounds like another day in New York or any other day in a lot of our big cities across the country. There's always people getting busted. I'm not sure if this is a big bust for Canada or not, but maybe they aren't busting enough grows to find enough big busts because there is plenty of illicit activity going on in Canada. But nonetheless, let's see what you guys all have to say about this, you guys. Blue Tree Frog says there's so much more illegal weed in Canada, and they're literally sending over cargo containers full the border on a daily basis. See what I'm saying? I was just alluding to that. Michigan Fitness Flower says this is the biggest. This is the average Michigan suburb 16-year-old. See what I'm saying? I'm with you, Michigan's finest flowers. Major League Roots says packs are $500 in Canada. That's valued at less than $500,000. Lame. Fair enough. I mean, but maybe they're doing Canadian math, you know. Undead CEO says Trailer Park Boys at it again. That's really good, bro. That's so good. Just a Guy Who Extracts 2.0 says 196 pounds seized. Plot twist, all CBD packs sprayed with distillate. And look at all the trash edibles, you guys. Motorbike says kids these days ain't got shit on the OG hustlers. You are so right about that. That might be one of the realest comments of today's episode. And DJ Marlack says the highest ticks per pound in the market. I think you're right about that, especially for some Canadian weed. This is a way over exaggeration of the value of this, but nonetheless. And Cushy Sam says Prop 215 days were lit. So true. I wish we had a time machine and could go back in time, like Back to the Future. And rolling right along into our third story of the day in this week's blunt wrap-up of the Blacklist XYZ. A pair of young lovers have been accused of robbing 4 Los Angeles cannabis dispensaries during a 6-week-long crime spree last year, according to authorities, you guys. That's right. Gabriela Tovar and Jesus Mendoza, both in their 20s, had only been dating for 1 month before they embarked on a string of heists at unlicensed weed shops around the city that came to an abrupt end on June 11, 2023, when Mendoza crashed his BMW after a high-speed chase with cops. Los Angeles Police Department officers said during a 4-day preliminary court hearing in late August, you guys. The pair were initially charged with 14 counts of kidnapping, robbery, fleeing police, committing assault with machine guns, and shooting into an occupied building. At the end of the hearing, where the couple sat at the table with an LAPD file labeled Romeo and Juliet, the shooting charge and 1 count of robbery were dropped. Prosecutors claimed Mendoza had been fired from the first dispensary they attempted to rob, Up in Smoke, and Samantha Vargas, an employee there, said she was working in the shop on the night of April 24th, 2023, you guys. Vargas testified that upon unlocking the back door, a masked Tovar grabbed a fistful of her hair and yanked her to the ground before she was dragged to the weed shop's bathroom, you guys. By her hair. There, Vargas said she and 2 other employees were held at gunpoint by a suspect, whom she identified as Mendoza, while Tovar and a 3rd suspect grabbed cannabis from the sales area. A month later, 3 masked suspects touting guns, including an AK-47, held up employees at Daily Dose, with a female robber snatching bags of weed from a safe. They later returned to rob the shop again, police said. And just hours after the second robbery at Daily Dose, a male suspect with an assault rifle and a woman with a handgun rolled up in their BMW to the illegal dispensary firehouse, you guys. Man, oh man, oh man. But their luck ran out because during that robbery, an LAPD patrol car pulled up outside. 7 miles later, Mendoza crashed. Tovar was arrested 11 days later on suspicion of kidnapping and robbery, and the source for this is The Independent, you guys. Man, oh man, oh man, I don't understand why people want to be robbing dispensaries. Like, that is not the jam. Like, robbing, dispos and whatnot, I get it, because there's a lot of peas available, a lot of bulk and stuff that you can easily sell. But, like, robbing dispensaries for prepackaged flour, bro, I just don't see that as the move, and I don't see why it's that profitable for you guys to do it. But nonetheless, who knows? I'm not out there selling it. You guys are the ones that's out there selling it. Let's see what you guys had to say about this. 918.thrack says, "You mean Bonnie and Clyde?" To which the Blacklist responds, "Read the caption. Case file was called Romeo and Juliet. But yes, more like Bonnie and Clyde." Common Sense Production says, "I've had a lot of people tell me how great California is over the years. I don't get the hype." Well, it's because of our weather, okay? Just first of all, it's because of the weather. That is the number one reason to be in California. But I get it. A lot of people are moving out, and, crime is rampant in a lot of these major cities, and it's just been a bad thing, a very bad thing. And a lot of California is decaying under this Democratic rule, but nonetheless, hopefully we can get some Republicans in office and turn this tide around. But time will tell, and we will see. _ Fluvco says, "Knowing Cali laws, they'll be put out soon." You're right. So right. These prosecutors are not prosecuting crime, so you're probably right. They'll be out sooner before they even get processed to get booked in. Paris Skag says, "But guns are illegal in California." That's funny, bro. That is funny. Tasty _Terp says, "Just wait till Texas has dispensaries. So many crumb bums carrier will end." Possibly. Time will tell. But you guys got tons of THCA shops, and that's almost the same thing. Johnny Bless says, "That's methed up." I'm sure you're right, bro. They're pretty sure that there's some meth involved in this story somewhere. And Young _G says, "Hands up, give me your mids." That's pretty funny, bro. Cam's a lawyer says, "Unlicensed shop getting legal protection." It's crazy, right? Whatever. And Reality Road Respiratory says, "GTA 6 ain't even out yet." So good, you guys. So good. Love the comments of you guys. You guys make this whole thing. Thank you all. And moving right along into our fourth and final story of the day in this week's blunt wrap-up of the Blacklist XYZ. Telegram has been making headlines for some time now. And on August 25th, the CEO and founder, Pavel Durov, was arrested, allegedly accused of allowing criminal activities on the messaging app. While Durov rubbishes the claims, Telegram has stepped up to take steps. Recently, it has been observed that the app has quietly removed the part where end-to-end encryption was concerned. On the previous FAQ page, the company had mentioned that private chats were protected from moderation requests, but not anymore. The statement has been removed, indicating that Telegram will become more vigilant and moderate all chats. As of September 5th, Telegram's response page stated, in quotes, "All Telegram chats and group chats are private amongst their participants. We do not process any requests related to them. But as this piece is being written, the statement has already been removed, you guys." It has been replaced by, in quotes, "All Telegram apps have report buttons that let you flag illegal content for our moderators in just a few taps, followed by instructions on how to report content." And recently, Durov took to his Telegram channel, posting first comment after his arrest. He stated by calling the arrest both misguided and surprising, and he made a point saying if French authorities had issued with the service, they should have approached the company. The existing rule states that such cases, legal actions should be taken against the service, not the CEO, he said. Using laws from the pre-smartphone era to charge a CEO with crimes committed by third parties on the platform he manages is a misguided approach, he says. He continued saying that the title of being an Antarctic paradise app is not true. And Telegram is not perfect, but in quotes, the claims in some media that Telegram is some sort of anarchic paradise are absolutely untrue. We take down millions of harmful posts and channels every day, he mentioned. While removal of the end-to-end encryption for private chats might be a step to curb such alleged activities, it indicates that Telegram also feels that there are several criminal activities happening on the app. Well, you guys, man, oh man. Telegram, it sounds like they just gave the government the back door to the app. We don't know. I don't know this, so I'm just speculating here. But to me, it sounds like it. But at the same time, I don't understand why you guys get all up in arms about all these encryption apps, because ain't any of them safe. None of them are safe. They all backdoor to the federal government and whatnot. And I imagine Telegram probably is doing that now too. Now with Pavel being detained and being released and whatnot. But who knows anymore, you guys? I just don't understand why you guys just don't get burner phones and change your phone numbers every week if you guys are that worried about everything. But nonetheless, let's see what you guys had to say about this. Luke.Dubia says, make Boost Mobile great again. See what I'm saying? I'm with you, Luke. A1.Chad says, time to make trapping real again. F the Telegram verification and shit. I feel you, bro. It's all a whole bunch of BS. Who's That Cuban says, everyone acting like Telegram was safe to begin with. That's my whole point, bro. Exactly right. These people are living in a false reality like they all live on Denial River. Cortez.DaVinci says, yep, it's going back to local neighborhood trapping. And Meg Ultra says, I feel like we the people have forgotten who they work for. Well, that's because we don't enforce on them. You're so right about that. Joey Creel says, anyone who trusted it from the start is goofy. I couldn't agree with you more, Joey. TM Cog says, feds got that back door they wanted so bad. Of course, shake my head. Nasty Nate says, this is why Signal has always will be king. Wicker is likely worse than Telegram. Don't believe me? Search FBI messaging and see for yourself. Signal gives the least private information out of any messaging app. It was literally built for privacy by the founders of WhatsApp app. Nothing is better. You know, I'm not too sure about the people from WhatsApp either. And Signal, yeah, I do think Signal's probably the safest out of all of them. But at the same time, none of them are safe. And once you put your stuff onto a secondary platform, you have no clue where it goes. So best thing to do is keep it in your head. But nonetheless, you guys aren't paying me for advice. Print Gunna says, bring back the carrier pigeon. I mean, that would be a good start. Maybe we can get Tyson to help us out with this. Reggie3136 says, back to real trapping. I hope they kill off all this internet trapping. The internet has made hustlers lazy. Time to get back to getting it the old way. Fair. Terp.Treats3 says, no one cares about you selling 100 Disty disposables, regardless of what platform you're on. That's fair, but you know, we're not trying to sell 100 Disty pens. We're trying to sell hundreds of thousands of these things, bro. What you talking about? And Jay Riviera 2018 says, everything was okay until the pedos started trading photos on it. More everybody suspect to criminal shit. You are so right. The pedo epidemic is just crazy nowadays, and it is more on Front Street than anywhere else. And I think that is the #1 epidemic plaguing our entire streets, probably even more than fentanyl right now. And fake people need not apply, says smoke signals for the win. And Left Coast Cultivators says, I couldn't agree with you more, Left Coast Cultivators. Make the streets great again, you guys. Oh, man. Thank you all for tuning in to this week's Weekend episode of the blunt wrap-up of the Blacklist XYZ. I'm your host, Jason Beck, and make sure to tune in to High at 9 News every Monday through Friday at 9 a.m. Pacific and high noon on the East Coast for America's #1 daily cannabis news show, High at 9 News, as well as continue to comment on all the posts, the Blacklist XYZ, and the Blacklist post throughout the week for your chance to be featured on next week's blunt wrap-up of the Blacklist XYZ. Have a fantastic weekend, everyone, and don't forget to smash that like button on your way out and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, as well as drop a comment down below on what you think about this weekend's blunt wrap-up of the Blacklist XYZ, brought to you by High at 9 News and Cloud Media Partners. Have yourselves an amazing and safe weekend, everyone.